Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Art and welcome to my channel. Okay guys, so today what we're going to go ahead and talk about are fighting games back from the 90s. We're not going to be talking about the original games, but the modern versions of those games. For example, back in the 90s, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat was real popular. So now, the most recent addition for Street Fighter is actually Street Fighter 5. And that's actually what we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about. All these games that I have right here are actually games back from the 90s that started back in the arcade. You know, I have Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, The King of Fighters, Dead or Alive, and Soulcalibur. All these games were real big back in the 90s for all different reasons. Of course, Street Fighter 2 was real big for the reason that it was real big in the competitive scene. Mortal Kombat built upon that and made it a whole lot bigger, the fighting scene, in a way that they modernized it, I guess you could say. They added blood, gore, fatalities, more complicated moves as compared to Street Fighter. The King of Fighters is basically a really big roster of fighters. It's a huge fighting tournament, similar to Street Fighter, but it's got a how can I explain it? It's very more complicated in the move style. You got much more parries, defenses, rollouts, things of that sort. Dead or Alive, pretty much the same thing as Street Fighter or the King of Fighters. Of course, they're all tournaments, all these games. And what Dead or Alive did, they mostly focused on hand-to-hand combat, no special moves, unlike Street Fighter, with the Hadouken fireballs and spinning bird kicks, things of that sort. It was all hand-to-hand combat. It was really fast-paced. Let's see here. So, Soulcalibur, pretty much, of course, it's a fighting game. The only difference about this fighting game is that Soulcalibur, what they did, they added a weapons mechanic to it. So certain characters, they'll fight with swords. Most of these characters actually fight with swords. Some fight with poles and other weapons of that sort. So what I'm going to go ahead and do right now, I'm going to go ahead and play some of these games. Actually, I'm going to play them all. They're all PS4 versions. Most of these games are actually available for the Xbox as well, except for the King of Fighters and Street Fighter. Those are actually console exclusives. I'm going to go ahead and do some gameplay on that. And from there, what I actually wanted to do with you guys, I want you guys to actually comment in the comment section and let me know what gameplay you preferred, and I kind of want to do a monthly series on the game that you all voted for, and from there I can go ahead and do some online ranking matches or just some regular arcade gameplay, whatever you all prefer. I'm going to go ahead and play these games on normal, not easy or not hard, just plain flat out normal, for the reason that back in the arcades when you would go play, that was actually the standard for these games. It would actually be in default normal. So hope y'all guys enjoy. I'm gonna go ahead and go play some of these games, and go ahead and cast your votes, guys.
The best-selling game in the series was Street Fighter 2. Various versions of the game grossed over 10 billion in inflation adjustment revenue, mostly from arcades, as well as from the video game console ports, which sold more than 14 million cartridges for the Super NES and Genesis platforms. Individually, Street Fighter 2 is one of Japan's highest grossing video games of all time, after Taito's Space Invaders and Namco's Pac-Man.
Come on, let's turn up the heat. Well then, where do you want me to break you first?
Round 1. Fight!
I did it!
Round 2. Fight! Ken wins.
Mortal Kombat has been one of the most successful fighting game franchises in video game history, only behind Namco's Tekken and Capcom's Street Fighter. It generated more than $4 billion by the late 1990s and $5 billion in total revenue by 2000.
Such promise, wasted.
My life ended through treachery.
With fortitude, you could begin anew.
Round 1. Fight! Round 2. Fight! Final round. Fight! Scorpion wins. Fatality.
The King of Fighters 14.
SNK released the first game in the series, The King of Fighters 94, on August 25th, 1994. It featured characters from SNK's previous fighting game series, Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting, as well as other characters, including characters from other franchises such as Ikari Warriors and Psycho Soldier, adapted for a versus fighting game.
Order select. Stage select. Taekwondo というものを見せてやるぞい。Round 1.
Ready, go!
Try two. Charge! Barnacle! Rock out! Barnacle! Crossbar! Try two! Try two! Rock out! Hey! Hit them! Crossbar! Try two!
Wonderful! Player 1 wins.
Okay.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Here's the big one. Try two. Try two. Try two. Are you okay? Hey, hey. Watch out.
I believed in you. Player 1 wins.
Okay.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Crossbar. Try two. Try two. Hey. Hey. Hey.
Dead or Alive has been praised for its impressive fighting system, graphics, and interactive environments. In addition to its fast-paced counter-based play system, the franchise is also known for its female characters. The aspect of the series' popularity led to the creation of the spin-off game Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball and its sequels, where the females and their sex appeal play a more focal role than it does in the core Dead or Alive series.
go on.
Soulcalibur. There are 7 main installments of the video game and various media spin-offs, including music albums and a series of manga books. Originally released as an arcade game, Soul Edge, in 1995 and later ported to video game consoles. Most recent versions have been released for consoles only and have evolved to include online playing modes.
I'm sorry.
The center motive of the series, set in a historical fantasy version of the late 16th and 17th century, are mythical swords, the evil weapon called Soul Edge, and the subsequent sword used opposed this evil Soulcalibur.
Victory goes to the last one standing. Battle 2. Fight! Victory will not come easily. It must be seized. Battle 3.
Way already! Oh God!
Claim victory and bask in the glory.
Gods, please forgive me.